Hello and welcome to the Great Central Railway in Loughborough. My name's Steve from Accurascale and I'm here today to look at Class 37s, both real and our wonderful models. I'm joined today by industry veteran, model design extraordinaire and our latest recruit, Steve Purves. Steve, let's waste any time, let's go have a look at these machines. So you join me here at the number one end of D6700 and we're going to start looking at some of the detailed variations between an as-built 37 and a later-built 37 and how they're captured across the Accurascale models. What is there of note around the front end of this locomotive? We've captured the fine details of the winding handles that even look like they could turn on the model, as seen here with this beautiful etched detail. Moving to the buffer beam area, we have the original cowlings complete with the oleo lettering on the buffer housing, as replicated on the real thing and on the model. There's various refinements of etched detail as well. You can see the horn grills at the top here in this lovely brass finish on the real thing, accurately captured on the model. The ones that you do see here are pre-production, and we've actually worked with a specialist etching company to get that super fine detail that you see on the real thing, and the production models will be wonderful in that respect. It goes without saying, capturing the prototype curvatures of the real 37 has been a challenge. Gareth, the project manager for the Class 37, has spent many years refining the CAD model that we've used to tool this wonderful class. Little detail variations that we have to get right. The shape of the grills, the edging around here that's been a challenge, the location of the sandbox filler here, all details around the front and how they relate to each other has been tough. Corner steps on the 37 are etched and built into the chassis block to be less vulnerable during handling and shipment. One of the bits I'm most proud of on the Accurascale 37 is the etched detail around the footsteps. As built, there was no checker plate, only on the top level here. However, on the later ones, we have this beautiful etched finish that really pushes the boundaries of etching technology. We have had to use a special thin stainless steel, usually used in the medical industry. Continuing with the etched detail, we have these lovely frost grills that you see on the side here. That really distinct honeycomb effect that you see with the hexagon unique shape is accurately represented on the models where appropriate, as seen here. I actually moved to the unpainted sample because it shows up the fine nature of the grills perfectly. Within the Class 37 tooling suite, we have covered all bogie variations that the class has carried throughout its long history. This includes the original fabricated saw and both welded types that are seen later across the class. This is an entirely new tooling. Nothing is carried over from the Deltic. The Class 37 bogies feature scale size wheels as well as a scale size gap. Luckily, with the shape of the body, it's allowed us to take that feature that we weren't able to do with the Deltic. We will also be offering P4 and EM wheels. These will be drop-in replacements, just like the Deltic, but with scale size wheels to represent the prototype. We've really pushed the boundaries, not just on the detail that you can see straight from above, but also the detail underneath. All the bogie details you see here around the lubrication oil filters has been carefully added by the project manager. Everything has been carefully modelled to allow the locomotive to still travel around second radius bends, but actually capture all of this fine detail that you see here. Other period correct details include the removal of the window that happened later in life for some of them, and also the body side steps that were plated over in time as well. One of the key features of the original first few 37s was the shape of the cantrail grills with the extra reinforcements down the bottom. Our first tooling, our EP1 sample, include this lovely feature and we're very proud to offer it in our tooling suite. So that covers all the detail variation on the outside. Let's go inside the cab. So starting with the driver's seat and controls, all the details that you see here are captured within our model. We have all the driving controls which are fully lit and independently controlled on DCC. Brightness is fully adjustable on CVs as well. We have all of the power handles and bits and pieces here that you can see. So also included in our Class 37 model is a full cab lighting. We have even replicated the position and brightness of these cab lights, and we have two LEDs in the same position you see here there. Once again, they are CV adjustable, so you can alter the brightness to your personal tastes, but you can have that lovely two light effect that you see in the real thing. One of the detail aspects we've captured with our Class 37 model is the difference in the cab variations. Other models on the market have the same cab interior at both ends, which is incorrect, so I can show you this morning. On this end here, we have the one door, which you can see here on the model and here on the real thing. We have all this lovely printed detail, the switches, the warning lights, the gauges, and we have all of this detail at the top of the pipework, all of which is included here, right down to the orange pipe that you see right here and right here. It's always interesting to compare the functionality of the real thing and the model. Here are your light controls on the real 37. They include tail lights at both ends, independently controlled, the instrument lights that I have in front of me, the cab lights that are above, and also the engine room lights, all fully independently controlled, just like our model. However, instead of a switchboard like this, we have DCC controls with CVs.
So here I am, in contrast to D6700 over here, with 37714. This, as you may know, is a heavyweight Class 37, later refurbished. And here there's many detail differences from the earlier model that we can look at in due course. One of the key features of a refurbished Class 37, noticeable on the nose end, is the cutaway cowling around the buffer beam. We also notice that this has got oval oleo buffers, and one really nice feature that we've got on this model here, the webs on the back of the buffer are actually represented on the buffer head of the model, which is a real keen feature. Another change which is quite obvious is the lack of head code boxes, replaced with sealed marker lights and a welded up door on the front. One thing that you may notice that's different on this locomotive to D6700, and in fact different to the other end of this loco, is the horn grills are 90 degrees rotated. The flexibility within the Accurascale tooling allows us to replicate this on the model exactly. Another key feature of the refurbished locomotive is the full and the half height grills. These are replicated on the Accurascale model perfectly, in contrast to the earlier unrefurbished locomotives. Placement of the sandbox filler and the engine stop are also correct. And as we move further back the locomotive, you can get to the cab steps. And where relevant, we've got 3-piece, 2-piece or 1-piece separate etched kick plates with a really fine detail etch on a special medical grade stainless steel. In contrast to D6700 earlier, the later models don't have the frost grills fitted. This will be replicated on your model where relevant. Moving further onto the fuel tanks, whether they've got fuel tanks, twin fuel tanks or water tanks, the correct version again will be fitted with all the correct pipework installed. This is a really fine detail and it's certainly more robust than any other models that we've seen recently. Whilst we're here looking at the refurbished 37714, another feature that was changed while these were modified, they fitted large panels on the inside to make them heavy, hence the name heavyweight. Also meant that the body side window was filled. So this is replicated correctly on the models where relevant. The water tanks that used to supply the water for the steam heating boiler were converted to carry fuel. In order to do so, a balance pipe was added between the two tanks, and this is correctly replicated on the relevant models, and you can see that on all the underframe detail. So again, whilst we're looking at comparisons between this model and D6700 that was next to us, we'll notice that the cantrail grills here are different again. So these haven't got the dividers for the RSH or the early models. These are the larger cantrails without the extra supports on the outside. And again, on the model, it'll be correct. Following on from what I said earlier about the horn grills being different at the other end of the locomotive, you can see here they're vertical as opposed to horizontal. And another feature that's particular to this model, 37714, which we'll be offering through the heavy tractor group, is the fact that the nose ends are different at either end of the loco. This end has got a far more flush finish where the ends were plated over.
So, thank you very much for joining us today for a deep dive in the Class 37. We'd like to thank the Great Central Railway and the Heavy Tractor Group for being so welcome to us today, and we look forward to delivering your models to you soon. If you've enjoyed today's video, please consider liking and subscribing for more. On behalf of Steve and I, take care.